Hi, Grant Nelson for Thief River Falls Radio with another edition of Community Grant. We're with Robert Fay, who is the coach for VEX Robotics at Franklin Middle School and Challenger Elementary. Robert, welcome to Community Grant. How are you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Tell us about a season that you just ended here that was pretty successful for both the grade school and middle school.
Yeah, we had an amazing season. It was a long season. We started back in November, and then we had to take a 6-week break. So we stopped that. We came back, and we had a few tournaments here in Thief River Falls, and we had teams from Challenger and Franklin that were invited to the state tournament, and ended up winning the teamwork state challenge for elementary as well as the middle school, and middle school skills state championships. So amazing season for the kids. They just did wonderful.
Well, congratulations. Now, I think competition is wonderful, but learning something that you can use the rest of your life, well, that's even better. Tell us a little bit about how the robotics work. First off, I mean, as the programming works with the robot, because really the robot is really just a manifestation of the work that's gone on within the programming, isn't it?
It is. You know, each year we get a different challenge, and the kids need to build a robot to do that challenge. So we start kind of with that mechanical build. How do we do something? You know, and then the next part is adding the programming, and there's two ways. First, of course, we have our controller here, and we program what our buttons do. You know, so if we have an arm to lift, we push a button, it lifts. And so we go through and do that. And then we get a little bit more detailed into that programming as far as, you know, not just making it lift. You know, we're changing it from a gas pedal in your car to cruise control. You know, so when we push that button, instead of just lifting, we lift it 40 degrees, okay. You know, and so, you know, advancing some of that and making it easier for the kids to drive.
And when you're programming, you're talking about block programming. Now, a lot of people assume, rightly, that programming takes a lot of commands that you have to put in over and over again. But with block programming, basically, you've taken a set of commands that create one action and put them in one block so they can just be, you can drag and drop them into a program line, right?
It's pretty simple. We set this up and we tell our computer, we tell our iPad that, you know, we have a certain motor on a wheel, a certain motor on another wheel. And basically what we have is we have a block that says drive forward. And then we have another block that says stop. And then you may have something that tells you how far you want to drive forward. And so it's just you click on that, or on our iPads here, we just touch it with our finger, we drag that block in, and we tell it to drive forward. And really what we're trying to do there is show structure. And while it's made for Robot C, is actually the one you'd type out. It's all about structure of, you put in a drive forward, now we have to tell it to stop because it doesn't know to stop. You've just told it to drive and it's going to keep doing that. So teaching the kids structure on how to actually program. So then when we want to shift to actually typing that out, they know how that structure works.
In the program itself, you can open up a particular block and see the structure of the code that's been written, right?
There's a button right in that block that you just click on, and it'll show that text portion.
Okay.
And
going forward, as they become adults, as they go out into the world, how does this transfer? What can they do with this information?
Oh, there's so much they can do with it. You know, the level of technology that's being integrated into society is just, you know, crazy. If you were to go back, you know, 20 years, 40 years, you know, they don't have any of this stuff that's sitting on the table here. So, you know, there's the obvious technical things. You know, there's the engineering path. The guys who are going to build robots, they're going to design robots. But where the biggest need really is the people that are going to fix those things, and identifying, you know, whether it's mechanically or through programming, how to fix a lot of these things, and getting people interested in understanding they can fix something either mechanically, electrically, through programming, is just kind of the start to engaging them down one of those paths.
Can you give us a little demonstration of this?
Yeah, so this robot here actually belonged to our Ninja Bots team at Franklin Middle School and was our teamwork champion for middle school. But what they did, a big part of it to help them, is they programmed the remote with settings. And so by simply pressing one of the buttons, we make our arm go up, and down, it goes down part way. And where that helps us is this year, see if I can grab these, show you. We had these risers the students had to stack. And when they drive into one, they'd press up. Now you could manually do that, but getting it to the right height so when they drove over the second one was important. And the really important part was when they set it down, they didn't want to go down too far or not far enough. So they programmed the down button. It goes to the right height, and now they can just back right out of that. So, adding that programming in so it's just a touch really helped them versus having to navigate how high that is. And that comes in real life too. I kind of go back to that robotic welding. As you're going across, if you were just to manually operate that, you're going to be trying to find the end of that. But when you just have that button and you tell it to go 12 inches, it's going to go right to where you need it to go.
I think people, they get a little bit leery of technology. And what I've seen in my own life is that the same folks who were back in the 60s and 70s working on cars, working on tractors, those same skills transfer into this kind of technology.
It's certainly intimidating for a lot of people. And, that's one of the questions, like when I go out looking for volunteers to help with a robotics event, people, I don't know anything about this. If you're willing to take some time and learn, it's just like a cell phone. It takes a little bit of time, but now most of us don't know what we'd do without one. And the same thing applies here. We're snapping things together. They're fairly simple. As we're turning gears, a lot of it is just understanding math. A circle's 360 degrees. How much of that do we need to use in this gear to get it to turn? And that, really is transferring to a lot of things in real life as well, as we see technology come out, whether it's at home, telling a living room light to turn on, and, it's getting used to it is more, and kind of getting over that fear than it is actually using the technology.
Robert Fay, thank you very much. Coach Robert Fay, building champions and strong young minds. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm Grant Nelson with another edition of Community Grant right here on Thief River Falls Radio.